Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And some horrible breaking sort of news is that the Bulls versus the British and Irish Lions match for this weekend has officially been postponed after a number of Bulls players tested positive COVID-19. We did a video earlier talking about the fact that it was a little bit in doubt and they weren't quite sure what's going to be happening. It has been confirmed that the match will not take place on Saturday as originally scheduled. Before we talk about that, as well as the Springbok match and what the situation is there, please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. So yeah, I mean, the Bulls were scheduled to go into a 5-day bio bubble today, and when they received, yesterday, and when they received the results of the PCR test, they found that there were quite a few players, as well as certain players in management, tested positive for COVID-19. As a result, the game this weekend has been postponed. It has not been cancelled at this stage. So what is happening at the moment is that it looks like they are trying to reschedule the game for the Tuesday after the first test. Now we saw this in New Zealand series a couple of years ago, where they actually had a match against one of the unions as a midweek game between tests. Obviously, that's not an ideal situation because by the time you get to the test, you don't really want to be worry about injuries and playing 2 games a week and stuff like that. You want to get full recovery. So it would definitely force, for example, the British and Irish Lions to sort of use their full contingent of squad. So it's definitely not an ideal situation. But that is what they are currently sort of potentially looking at. The idea that could be a potential day that they could try and use. And what would also obviously be then quite difficult is where the game would take place. And the obvious sort of place, according to Bulls CEO Edgar Rathbone, is that it would take place in Cape Town. The Bulls themselves would have to go down to Cape Town. They would play against the Stormers on the Saturday, or the Boks Saturday, and then they would probably play against the Bulls on the Tuesday. So it's quite a complicated situation, and it's all very sort of fluid at the moment, because what we also don't know is what's going to happen with the Georgia versus South Africa game on Friday, because more Springbok players have actually returned a positive test, as well as 4 positive cases in the Georgia side. So it's now looking like that game could also potentially be cancelled. So there are a couple of different conversations at the moment. First of all, it's looking like that the game on Friday is in doubt, and we're not quite sure what's going to happen. Rassie Rasmus was always very assured that there would always be players available for South Africa, given the fact that it's a 45-man squad and they can pull players in as well. But the fact that there are also positive cases in the Georgian setup means that it might be a little bit more complicated. That head coach Jacques Nienaber has also returned a positive COVID test, so he wouldn't be involved if they probably did play on Friday. So it's all a very, very difficult situation. There's also talks about potentially the British and Irish Lions actually playing Georgia on Saturday. So the hope is that there will be at least one game this weekend, whether it's the Boks versus Georgia, whether it's the Lions versus Georgia. We are hopeful that will be one game, but at this stage, we do know the British and Irish Lions will not be playing the Bulls on Saturday as originally scheduled, which is frustrating. I think the biggest thing for me is I cannot believe they decided to reduce the bio bubble to 5 days. That is absolutely ludicrous. A tour of this magnitude in the third wave, the Bulls players should have been in quarantine from last week, Wednesday, Thursday. This should not even be an issue. What is more than the issue is what is happening within the Georgian and the Springbok camps. We've had so many tours and stuff like that. During sort of big waves, during the second wave, where we've had successful bio bubbles. So what is going wrong with these ones? Where are the sort of the breaches? And look, first of all, I don't think people saying they need to find Bulls and you find players. It's never the players' fault. In theory, unless they've really sort of done something wrong. You can't blame the players. At the end of the day, with the new variant, the Delta variant currently in South Africa, it's a very tricky situation at the moment. And unfortunately, whether it's a bus driver or somebody that works in a hotel, or maybe even a part of the media who are there, stuff like that, we don't know how it's going to get compromised. So people talking about should the Bulls be fined, should these players be fined, stuff like that. It all becomes very muddy if you want to go down that route. Now the problem is this tour is always going to have a lot of challenges. So it's almost not surprising that we're going to have these issues. The question is, how do you deal with them now, and how do we move forward? And I think that's where it becomes quite difficult. So we have to wait and see what happens. As soon as we have any sort of update, we'll let you know. The Springbok team was supposed to be announced today, but obviously wasn't. There was no press conference or anything. So hopefully tomorrow we'll have more. I think by the end of tomorrow we will know what's happening this weekend. I think that's probably sort of a safe bet. So we'll keep you updated with exactly what's happened. Until then, smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.